Hey followers, this is your boy, movie maker Doug55. I'm the author of From Green Flags to Blue Flags 2, The Amazing Comeback of an Autistic Spokesperson, and my own screenplay, Mose and the Great Escape. And today I have two Andys with me today, my coach and mentor, and Andy Harrison, who has an incredible story to tell. Welcome, guys.
Thank you, Doug.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. And Andy. So when we yell out Andy, one of us will answer, I'm sure.
Correct.
As long as you don't owe anyone any money, mate, well, that's fine. They can call me Andy all they like.
I'll just address you.
Andy, oh, sorry, Doug. What'd you say?
I'll just address you as Andrew McVie.
Thanks, mate. So how we met, Andy and myself, really, this is probably the biggest conversation we've had, because I met Andy through a friend called Jason, and Jason's going to be on our program as well, Doug, as you know. And Jason, he's vision impaired. He's going to share his story of how he's made life work around losing sight and not being able to get around without using sometimes a bit of a walking stick, and but he's doing some amazing stuff, and he introduced us to Andy. So it's really cool. And I'm going to mention one thing. Doug is going to help Andy get his book published on Amazon, hopefully, or Kindle, one of the two. Andy tried to get his book published, but the publishing company said, it's too specific. But it's, from what I gather, a pretty amazing story of how Andy got to where he is now. So we're going to do our best, and Doug's knowledge, since he's an author of 8 books and he's the best-selling author, well, nearly there, 300 on Amazon with his books, Blue Flags to Green Flags. Oh, sorry, Green Flags to Blue, what is it? Blue Flags to Green Flags? I can't remember.
I might need to change the title of my autism series eventually, but yeah, it's titled From Green Flags to Blue Flags 2.
Yeah, and it's available on Amazon. It's a great story. It's around about 300th bestseller on Amazon. So I suggest, if you're interested in, the journey of someone with autism and how he got to make his life where it is now, it's well worth reading. So,
yeah,
Doug, I'll hand it over to you and take it away, mate.
All right, sounds good. Just so you know, and the alternative title for it that might be easier to remember is The Amazing Comeback of an Autistic Spokesperson.
Oh, yeah, great. That's right. Yeah, thanks, mate.
All righty. So I have a list of questions for you, Andy.
Sure.
Andy, too, I'll say. And hopefully you have the answer for them. My first one is, what are you doing these days?
Well, at the moment, here in Australia, we're on COVID restrictions. So the only thing for me to do is training. Fortunately, I have my own gym. So I'm in there pretty regularly. However, there won't be any contests for a while, I don't think. I get a military pension, so I don't have to work, which is fortunate. Consequently, all the time is my own. I devote a lot of time to training, and I have 2 daughters, so I spend some family time with them. But at the moment, we're restricted.
Yeah, I might need to put subtitles when you talk, because your accent is so thick.
Yeah, it is. Where I come from, it's a very thick accent.
You know what, Andy? I can understand you, mate. It's we're from the same part of the world, so I can clearly understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, I understood it too, but it's just I might need to include subtitles for some of my things. But yeah, that's really incredible. So you're working out at the gym at the moment? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I have my own gym, and I just use that all the time.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's very incredible, man. I've been bodybuilding as well.
Excellent. You can't beat having some physical energy expended like that. It works well.
Well, Doug's really doing well. He's just hit the gym in the last couple of months. His weight now is probably around about 210 pounds, but he was soaring over 300 pounds. So he quit his sugar addiction and started walking, and we were sort of talking his way through that. Say, look, mate, just get up and, walk every day. And we had a big discussion about his sugar addiction. It took him a while to get off it, and he's really killing it now. Healthy food, gym, lost a huge amount of weight. So
yeah, there was a point where I weighed 310 pounds and my stomach was ballooning.
That's pretty heavy. That's pretty bad weight.
Yeah. Hey, so Andy, that sort of people go, okay, well, he's got his gym at home and he's training, he's doing bodybuilding competitions. They're going, okay, well, that's cool. What's the big deal? But the big deal is, mate, you're lucky to even be here, right?
Correct. Back in the 1990s, I was a triathlete, and I did short triathlons, but they weren't good enough. I wanted the big one, so I did the Australian Ironman with the intention of qualifying for Hawaii. Well, I never did it fast enough, so the following year, 1993, was going to be better, or so I thought. Then one fine sunny day in the afternoon, I was out cycle training on a country road where there was virtually no cars when I was hit from behind by a car. It's about, in American terms, 60 miles an hour, over 100 kilometres an hour. And I flew through the air 19 metres. I have the police report still. And I hit the ground with an enormous impact. And I broke, countless bones in my body, and I had a brain hemorrhage. When the paramedics found me, there was blood running out my ears because my brain was bleeding. And, of course, the blood has to find an exit. Otherwise, the pressure becomes too much. And they flew me to hospital on a helicopter, and they all said I was going to die. Everybody said I was going to die. And they flew my parents out from England. They phoned them up in England and said, come out instantly to my funeral. I was in the Air Force at the time, and they arranged my funeral. The Air Force arranged my funeral. And I flew my parents out to attend it. But they never asked me because I wasn't going to any funerals. And I was in a coma for 4 days, and then I went into post-traumatic amnesia for 3 months. I didn't know what I was going on. Eventually, I became stable enough to leave intensive care, and they took me to a rehabilitation centre. I was still in post-traumatic amnesia. And normally, the rehabilitation centre didn't accommodate anybody as bad as me, but they made an exception. So from day one, they filmed it. And I've got all the video all on film, and now it's on YouTube. And when I was discharged from rehab, I sent it to a TV station who made a documentary about me. That's on YouTube too.
That's very incredible.
Yeah. While I was I was paralysed on my left-hand side too. I paralysed, and I dropped to 43 kilos, about 80 pounds in weight, because I couldn't eat anything. I was drip fed. Well, you can't take enough calories in to maintain your body weight, so I just wasted it away. And I weighed about 80 pounds, 43 kilos. And I was skin and bone, and I've got all that on film. So it's all I have to do to get motivated is just to watch that film. And eventually, I had to learn to walk. I had to learn to do everything again. Bizarre, what I had to learn to do. Even to go to the toilet, I had to learn that. And even now, I can remember coming out to post-traumatic amnesia, and all these people were around me, and I still can't find the words to describe it fully. It's just an event in your life which is a one-off, and I just can't find the words to describe it. It's bizarre, whatever. It was incredible. And so then it was about 18 months, 1.5 years of persistent effort and training to do everything again. But I wasn't going to be broken. They all said I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't do that. And I thought, who are you talking about? I will not be broken. And eventually I walked and I ran. I did another triathlon afterwards. I ran a 10-kilometre race, which is 6 miles in American terms, in 50 minutes. So I was rather pleased with myself.
Wow, that's amazing, Andy. If I can just jump in there with a question, because I'm sure Doug's got plenty. You said something there that I'm not sure if you've heard of Janine Shepherd.
I have, yeah.
Yeah,
Wasn't she a pilot?
Very similar.
Yeah.
She's still she's living in America at the moment, but she's an Aussie. But yeah, she was doing the same, training for the Winter Olympics, and she got hit by, I think she got hit by a truck, and she was confined to a wheelchair. But she did was still doing amazing things. But she said the same thing you did. And another friend of ours, Ron, he's an ex-military tank commander from Israel, and he had an accident in a tank. It wasn't actually to do with the war. They were just backing a tank up in one of the streets during the wartime, and they hit a building, and the concrete wall fell down. And it fell down because he was the commander at the top of the tank, and he had his Kevlar suit on his helmet, and the concrete fell down and went straight down between his back and the back of the tank turret, and it broke his back. But he's the same. He said, that doctor told me, you won't do this, you won't do that. He said, well, I'm not wearing that. He said, I'll make the best I can in my life. And same with Janine, mate. She said, I'm not going to be defined by the fact I'm in a wheelchair. And she became a pilot. She became a commercial pilot. She became an aerobatics pilot and an instructor. And your words were very, like, when you said that, I could hear the passion in your voice. I could imagine you telling him, no, that's not going to happen, mate. I'm not going to be,
I'm going to be back to normal.
Yeah, amazing, mate. And we'll let everybody know to your YouTube channel so people can go and look at the footage of you recovering. But Doug, over to you, mate. I'm sure you've got some questions.
Yeah, I do. That's really an incredible story. What exactly happened in rehab that helped you get back to normal?
Well, I think it was my own motivation, because all the time they told me, you won't walk, you won't do this, you won't do that. But I just never listened to it, because I knew it was going to happen for me one day. And all I had to do is take one step in front of the other, and I would be there. And I just worked and worked and worked at it. Eventually I could walk, and I could run, and I could use a computer. And my Air Force friends are back on base. They did a fundraising effort for me, and they raised all this money. So I bought a laptop computer. That was brilliant for my brain, because I was doing all kinds of things, learning my fine motor control again with the keys, learning all the time, educating my brain, using new pathways and new brain cells and everything like that. So in rehab, it was just persistence. But I just persisted at it all the time. Even on weekends, I did it. Everybody else would just knock off for the weekend and stop doing theirs. I carried on. I got my dad to help me. He was putting me on something called a tilt table, which helped to straighten my legs and arms, everything like that. I never stopped for 1 minute. I gave it all I got.
That's amazing, Andy. And just jumping in there, that's the name of the series. We, calling it Relentless and Unstoppable. And you pretty much just said it, regardless of whatever you're trying to do in life, even some of the people we've interviewed, like they've not had anything as traumatic as that, but they just made a simple choice, like Richard Norton, who's an incredible martial artist, and he's a fight stunt coordinator. I met him on a Lionsgate film called The Condemned. He was Margot Robbie's personal fight stunt coordinator, and he's done a lot of things in his life. He was a bodyguard to the Rolling Stones and David Bowie and Linda Ronstadt, and that all came about by when he was a teenager. He took up judo, and then his friend was doing karate. He thought, I'll go do karate, and he made that choice, and he had no issues growing up. He had a great family, but that little choice he made, the karate led to him and Bob Jones starting Zendu Kai, and then Richard was working in the immigration department, and that's where he met Linda Ronstadt doing visas and that. And he must have been sharing his story, and she said, I'd like to give you an offer. Why don't you come and be my bodyguard in America? And he's like, oh no, mum and dad said, got to have a good job, and I've got a good job. I'm working 9 to 5. And she said, okay, but let me tell you, these opportunities only come through once. And he made that choice, and that's what he did. And he just was relentless in keeping that journey going. So it's really powerful what you're saying. Regardless of what your situation, if you really want something, you have to be relentless and unstoppable in it, whatever it is.
You can have anything you want. You've got to want it bad enough.
Yeah, that's not only that, but A few years back, when I was not in a good place in my personal life, I was ranked by some of my former schoolmates at my high school as the least likely to succeed in college, some of which my instructors felt as well. And I've not only proven them wrong, but I'm one course away from my associate's degree.
Excellent. See, you can prove them wrong. You just got to persist all the time. Relentless, persistence. Persistence will get you through all the time. Don't listen to anybody else. Listen to yourself.
Yeah, that's really great, Andy. That's amazing. Doug, yeah, I'm sure you've got more questions, mate.
Yeah, I do. So my next one after that is, what are your plans for the future?
Just to carry on doing my bodybuilding contests, to be in the best physical shape I can be, because that also helps with all my broken bones and everything like that. Keep myself in good shape. And I'm also a member of the Military Pensioners Association here. So I put in lots of effort with them. And I've written a few stories for their magazines. And I suppose now I'd like to get my story, which I've already written, published in some form or other. I tried normal book publishers, they said go away. So I'll have to look at the online business now and seek some help with that.
Yeah, for sure, mate. And Doug will be able to help you with that. And it's too good a story not to be told. You know, like it's a valuable story that's going to help someone who could be in a position where, you know, physically they're not able to do things like they used to. And your story and people like Janine's and Ron's, they're so empowering. You know, as with everybody's stories here. Yeah. Sorry, Doug, you were saying?
Yeah, I'll be glad to help you through the publishing process and give you some info. But I would recommend self-publishing at this point.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
All I can say is the publishers that have rejected your story, it's their loss.
Correct. Yeah.
You know what I mean? See, it's really incredible.
My video is now on YouTube, so anybody can watch it and they'll know where I've come from. When it begins, I'm 43 kilos, paralysed, and in post-traumatic amnesia. I don't know what's going on, and anything like that. And now look at me. At the end, I'm in some bodybuilding competitions, and they'll just be astounded.
Hopefully
that's
my
amazing.
Bodybuilding will get somewhere, and I can be in contests as well. That would be really cool.
Excellent. I don't
all you got to do is
do it all natural. Oh, I don't take steroids, anything like that. I just do it natural bodybuilding. That's my outlook.
Me too. I don't take steroids or drugs.
No way.
I do it naturally, and I earn it.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I earn it. We earn it. Yeah. Well, what I look for, how I look, I've worked for that.
Yeah, that's.
And I think the thing is, like Doug was saying, you know, he's at early stages, but if he's persistent and keeps at it, and once you know you start getting leaner and more muscle, and he gets more experienced and stronger, that would be another incredible story. That, you know, this young kid who's dealt with, you know, bullying and, you know, feeling you know like just not fitting into society, and next thing he's not only an author, he's in bodybuilding competitions. That would be awesome to see that.
He's at the right age too. He's not too old. He's 22. Did you say, Doug? You've got years ahead of you. The older you get, the harder it is to build muscle. Doug should be fine.
Yeah. How old are you, Andy, if we can ask?
I'm 58.
Okay.
Yeah, 58.
Yeah, great. Have you won any titles at all, like, you know, in your journey of bodybuilding?
Yeah, I've won a few. Yeah.
Great.
But unfortunately, in natural bodybuilding, nobody knows of it. So they're competitions that nobody ever heard of, probably nobody ever will. But anyway, it kept me going. I've won a few.
Yeah, no, of course, mate. It's better than being, you know, living in where you could have been if you didn't decide to take that journey of, like, I'm not going to be stuck in what's happened to me. And your life might have been way different if you didn't have this persistence, you know.
I mean, even after my accident, I got married and I've had 2 daughters. So I became a family man. That's fine too. I can live normally like that. I can drive.
No, that's great. That's really great. It's an excellent story, and I think what will be valuable is that once people get to go and look at your YouTube channel and see where you came from and where you are now, which is the whole purpose of this series. Is whatever anyone's story is, whatever you're doing now. And we're not talking about people being multimillionaires. If you are, great, share the story. We're just talking about ordinary people who've had extraordinary things happen to them and they've got through it, or people who've just made a simple choice to not be stuck in what other people think you should be doing, or told to, oh, this is, you want to be an actor, yeah, it's okay, but you should have a regular job. People who won't be defined by others' thoughts or their bodies or whatever's happened to them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's amazing, mate. Dougie, back to you, mate. Have you got any more questions there for Andy?
Let me see if there's any more.
What comes off the top of your head, Doug, just simply listening to Andy's story? Is there something that sits with you?
Yeah. What made you decide to try to pursue writing and being an author like me?
Well, ever since I was 12 years old, I've kept a diary every single day. I've got them all now. I know what I've done every day since I was 12 years old. And so,
oh my gosh.
All through rehab, I wrote my diary. Something that was pretty patchy, but I kept a diary. And so then at the end of it, I thought, I'll write all this. And so I've written it into a book, and called Travelling with an Acquired Brain Injury. So now I'd like to get it published and give some people things to read to show that it can be done. No matter what experts say, it can be done. We don't understand the brain fully. So I want to just show them that if you work at it, you can do it.
That's amazing. You kept a diary since 12 years old.
And I've got them all. I know what I've done every day. If somebody says, what did you do in 1984? I can tell them. Because I know it's all written down.
Incredible. That's great, man. I bet the diary by now has gone up to like here.
It's in boxes. It's in 2 huge boxes now. Because they are A4 pages.
Incredible.
That's the one there. I keep that diary, that size.
Wow.
Every single day I write entries. All right.
Wow.
What's happening in the world? What's happening with the virus? All kinds.
That's really incredible. Like this, I'm glad you asked that, Doug. I thought, let's just see what's sitting with you, and that was a perfect question to ask. And I think out of what you've just said, I believe there's an opportunity for you there to possibly even start another book on just the journey of a young 12-year-old writing a diary to where you are now, and just little snippets of what the world's gone through from your view, to where you are now.
Yeah. How life changes. Yeah.
It could be the next diary of Anne Frank.
Yeah, that's right. Good. Yeah.
Or the diary of a wimpy kid.
Or that too. Yeah.
Yeah. You see,
diary of a thick accented Australian.
During my 20s, I also went travelling around the world, backpacking. So all that's written down too. There's lots of interesting stories there. What I did and what I saw and everything like that. Where I experienced everything. Yeah.
Amazing. What were you in the Air Force? How long were you there for, and what did you do?
I was a carpenter, believe it or not, a carpenter. I was there for 7 years. I served 7 years.
Wow, what an interesting. So you said you travelled around the world, yeah?
Yes, I did. Yeah. When I was 20, I went on holiday with a friend from Germany. We went all around on a motorbike, and while I was there, I met a Canadian. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm just travelling." I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "I just spend 2 or 3 days in a place, then I move on." I thought that's weird, but when I thought about it, I thought that's what I'm going to do. So I saved all my money and packed my job in and just left on a motorbike. Rode all the way around Europe, and by that time I was really hooked on travelling. So then I went down to Israel and the Middle East, Egypt, and then I went down to Africa, started in Kenya and finished in South Africa. Then I went to America and Canada, carried on down to Australia. Since I've been here, I've been to New Zealand, Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia. So I've done lots of places.
Wow. So see, just listening to you now, it would have been hard to stop you anyway.
Yeah, I was motivated enough.
Yeah, you took life on, mate. Like, you took risks, and I know there's a lot more younger generation traveling nowadays, I think, than when I was, a teenager. Like I never had the inkling to even travel anywhere, mate. But now I'm doing it later in life. I've been all over the world in the last 10 years, you know, through acting and traveling with my son, Cody. But it's an incredible experience. Would you highly inspire your children to take that on and do a bit of traveling once all this is over?
Yeah. It provides you with great life experiences, and you learn as well. You become streetwise. You see how other people go on, and you think, oh, right, and it all logs up into your brain, and you build all these files into your brain. Yeah, oh, I'll do this and I'll do that. It helps you with your life, I'm sure.
We really need Cody Smith McPhee on this show. That would be cool.
Yeah, we should get my son on there at one stage. I think he's busy in Melbourne at the moment, just off a film. But yeah, he's had a bit of a journey, you know, starting acting at such a young age and not really he didn't really have a teenage year or adult years. In one way, I felt a bit sorry that he was good at what he did because I loved growing up. I would not have wanted to be an actor. I would not swap. I'm glad I took up acting at 38 because I would not want to replace my childhood and all the trouble I caused and the journeys and experiences. So I loved it, you know.
Yeah. All right. We've run out of time at this point.
Okay.
Great. Well, Andy, that was amazing. Like the powerful words that came out of that is just whatever you're doing in life, if you really want to create something else and a dream, just don't give up, learn, find people who've done it, get support. Don't give up, be persistent, be relentless and unstoppable in whatever it is you want to do.
If anybody wants to watch my story, it's on YouTube called Can He Recover? Can He Recover?
All right, great. We'll get the details off you, and Doug and myself will, you know, definitely put that out on the social media and get people watching that, mate, you know.
Sure,
hey, Andy, thanks for your time, man. Great story. It's really good.
Yeah, really incredible.
Thank you.
All right, do you have anything else you want to say before we conclude this video?
No, I think we've covered most things. Thanks, Doug.
All righty. I'll keep your book in mind. I'll see if there's any way I can get Amazon to publish it for you. I'm sure there will.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah. All righty. And followers, whenever you have a chance, please check out my first ever screenplay, Mose and the Great Escape, based on the biblical story of Moses from the Bible. And please check out the sequel, Ray Guns of Kronos, War on Claudiusville, Part 1, The New Heroes.
There's a little bit of reading there, mate. It'll take a few months to read.
Yeah, 715 pages long. All righty. So followers, let's thank both Andys for appearing on our show, and we'll see you next time on Being Relentless and Unstoppable.